Go from a war zone to actually bringing intimacy. You don't want your wife to feel as if she's not getting the attention she deserves. You don't want her to feel as if she's alone in this marriage. You don't want her to feel that she needs adult time, but she can't get it. You want your wife to feel love. You want her to feel appreciated. You want her to feel cherished like the queen that she is. She needed to be led and very firmly. It felt like she was safe and that she's understood. But what used to take 2 to 3 weeks for us to even come together and be nice to each other now takes seconds, literally seconds. And I want that for you because those seconds then turn to intimacy. Hey guys, do disagreements in your house turn into a friggin' war zone where you guys start with an argument, you start with some kind of disagreement, and it just spirals out of control? This used to happen to me in my marriage all the time. I mean, all the time. We'd get in a small disagreement, it would escalate, it would turn into a war zone, and then it would be like 2-3 weeks of disconnect, right? Where we feel completely disconnected. The way I describe it is we felt like roommates, but not roommates that liked each other. We loved each other, but we didn't like each other. And if you feel this way or you felt this way before, this is the show for you. In today's TPM show, what I'm going to go over is how to navigate these disagreements so they go from a war zone to actually bringing intimacy, right? And if you're like me, you've probably heard about these couples that get in fights and they instantly turn into these wild, hot, passionate, sex-filled nights, right? Where they're having breakup sex, so to speak, or makeup sex. That never happened for me. I can't think of many times where I've had makeup sex, right? Or at least it wasn't until weeks later. And it wasn't really makeup sex. It was you're kind of in that place where, geez, it's been a couple weeks. It just doesn't work. And most of the men that I've spoken to, and I've worked with thousands of men at this point, it's the same thing, right? Because we are strong-willed. And if you're a strong-willed man like me, then your wife is probably too. She's probably very educated. She probably has a very strong independent side to her. So how do we do this? How do we handle this? How do we change things around? Well, the other side of this is now my wife and I still fight. We still argue like we're humans, right? We're a couple. We're real people. I have a business. I have kids. I have interests outside of my marriage. So we get in arguments. There's disagreements that happen. But what used to take 2 to 3 weeks for us to even come together and be nice to each other now takes seconds, literally seconds. And I want that for you because those seconds then turn to intimacy. And that's where this kind of quote makeup sex kind of comes in. You're not really even making up for it, right? You're good. And so you're having more sex because she's feeling more connected to you. You feel more respected. That's a good formula. So what happens, right? So let's just say there's a disagreement, right? There's something that's going on. I'll just set the scene randomly here and I'll walk you through how it could be navigated and how some people choose to navigate it, right? Which is different. So let's just say that you come home from work one day. You're working out of the office. You come home. It's been a long day, right? The kids are screaming. Your wife's going, look, I'm taking off. I'm going to go out with the girlfriends tonight. And then tomorrow night, I'm going skiing. And then the next night, I'm doing XYZ, whatever it is. In your head, you're like, holy crap, I've been gone all out day hunting, slaying. I'm tired. And now you want me to watch the kids and you're going out the next day and the next day. So now instead of you helping me with the kids or me helping you, it's all on my shoulders. This is ridiculous. I have things that I want to do. I want to go out with the boys. I want to watch Lord of the Rings, whatever it is you want to do. Now that's all taken away from you. So you're pissed. She's pissed. She's feeling like she's trapped. And you guys start to have an argument about it. No, if you go out tonight, then with the girls, then tomorrow night I'm going out with the boys. She's like, no, I never get a chance to go out. And now you're in this escalation of like, who's better, right? Who deserves more time away or who's right versus wrong is really what it is. And that escalates and then it turns into, well, you went out with the girls all week the other week and I was stuck home with the kids by myself and I have never get time by myself. And she goes back with, well, you're doing the career that you want to do and, you get to do all these things and I'm with the kids all day. I need some adult time. And now you guys both walk away from each other, huffing and puffing. You're both pissed. And you're talking about things unrelated to this whole idea of your wife leaving that night or the next night or whatever, right? Because what's happening is resentment is building and you're stacking things. You're stacking resentments on top of each other and you're getting more and more pissed. And you walk away and you're not having any sex that night, that's for sure, let alone the next couple nights. most likely you give in and you let her go out with the girls. You let her go out all 3 nights, yet you resent her for doing that, which pushes you guys further away from each other, right? And she comes back. You're still with the friggin' kids. You're still doing these. And of course, you love your kids, so don't take that way. But you're still doing all these things, yet you're not getting into the, quote, benefits of them because you're resenting your wife. It's showing. She knows you're resenting. She's resenting you, yet she's still going out with the girls. You get the idea. That's the way most couples work. And I get a chance to see this all the time. So your situation is going to be different, obviously, but that's a glimmer of it. Now, here's how you could handle it, right? So you come home after a hard day. Your wife says, "Oh, it's been such a rough day. I'm going out with the girls tonight. I'm going out tomorrow, and then I'm doing this, going skiing, and I'm doing this other thing the following day." Take a deep breath and go, "Okay, babe, can we sit down and talk about these?" And she goes, "No, we can't talk about these. Today's been just crappy. It's been a hellish day with the kids. I'm going out. You go out all the time." So here's how I would respond. "Wow, sounds like you've had a really tough day. God, imagine being home with the kids all by myself and not having any adult time would drive me crazy." And she's going to validate. So I'm validating her. I'm getting into her world. She comes back with, "Well, yeah, the kids have been a mess. They're not listening to me. They're throwing tantrums, whatever. You get the idea." You can come back, go back into the validation mode right here, the hidden motives version of it. So, oof, man, when the kids don't listen to me, I just get so pissed off, right? When they don't listen to me, I'm like, do not disrespect me. I'm your father. And I feel like one of these guys that is not the best version of me. And your wife's going to come back to you and go, yeah, I feel like I'm not being the best mom that I could be. And it really bums me out. I go, oh. Then you come back with something like, yeah, parent, who decided we're going to do this? Kind of jokingly with her. And now her basically all of her weapons are down. Her walls are down because you're relating to her. She's like, I just need to get out. I just need to get out with the girls. Go, look, I totally support you getting, this is how I respond, totally support you getting some adult time and some girl time. Can we sit down and talk about how we can make this week work for both of us? I've also had a tough week, and I want this to be really collaborative. Chances are she's going to go, yeah, let's do that. Let's sit down, because you get in collaboration mode. And you can look at her and say, babe, I just want to let you know you're a great mother, and I never want you to feel this way, that you can't have your own life outside of just our family. I want it too. Let's work on this together so you get some adult time, I get some adult time, and we both feel like it's a good mix for both of us. See, even just saying that out loud, probably you're kind of relaxed. Your nervous system relaxes listening to this. That's what's going to happen to her. So if you don't validate each other, and the same thing happens with you and I having a conversation, if the person doesn't feel validated, in other words, you don't really understand me, so therefore I have to take control of myself, I have to protect myself is really what they're saying. But if you understand me, then it's like, okay, cool, we're on the same page. I can now exhale, relax a little bit. My nervous system can calm down. Then you get to validate her, and then you get to lead her, right? Lead her. I can't tell you how many times I'm on a phone call with a man who tells me in their own subtle ways what's going on in their household, and I'm like, hey, buddy, your wife is begging you to lead. She's asking you questions. She's asking you to make more decisions. Now, ironically, this doesn't happen until a man's done the work for about 6 months on average within one of our programs. In fact, I have a guy I'm working with one-on-one right now who all of a sudden, his wife went from wanting divorce and separation to asking him questions like, hey, what do you think I should make for dinner? What do you think I should do this weekend? And he was like, wow, she can't make decisions all of a sudden. That's not the case. The truth is she now trusts you and she wants you to lead. Before, she didn't trust you. She didn't trust you to be the leader of the home. She had to be the leader of the home. It's not because you're not strong enough. It's because you've been in nice guy mode for so long. You haven't been giving her the leadership she wants. She is now beginning to trust your leadership again, which is great. And she's asking you to lead. She's begging you to lead. She knows what to cook for dinner. She knows what she could do for the weekend. She's a smart woman. And this man looked at me. He's like, oh, heck yeah, she is. That's for sure. Like, yeah, she's asking you to make decisions because she's trusting your leadership. And so when you're getting these arguments, what's happening, guys, is your wife's not trusting your leadership anymore. And if you're like me, you've gone into this, quote, Mr. Nice Guy mode. Robert Glover's got a great book called No More Mr. Nice Guy. it gives you kind of the symptoms that I'm talking about here, right? You want to go through this, but you got to get out of that mode. And that's what the activation method does for you. It's our flagship program. It's an 8-week program. It really rips you out of that, and you get guidance and coaching directly from your coach on how to do this in your situation. But also, when you do this in this nice guy mode, she's now said, basically, you can't lead me, so I'll have to do it myself, which is not natural feminine energy. It's masculine energy. So your wife becomes more masculine, which gives you one of two options. One is if somebody comes with you with masculine energy, as a masculine man, you need to rise up against that energy, right? Or meet it at the very much. That's conflict. Two, the other option is you go down, right? You go into submissive mode. And that's fine, right? For a time, but not in a marriage where the other person, your wife, is more naturally feminine. And I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm making this up, but 90% of women are naturally more feminine by nature. Men, naturally more masculine. Now, of course, there's that 10% that's different, but you wouldn't be watching this if you were in that 10%. So you want to, instead of rising up and meeting it, just meet her with loving energy. That's different. Grounded masculine energy, meeting her with that grounded, firm, almost dad-like energy, kind of, if you will, like to a loving kid, being loving but firm. And then validate her. Use the hidden motives technique. It's the best technique to use in this situation. Calm her nervous system down, and then lead her with what you want. Because the truth is, you don't want your wife to feel as if she's not getting the attention she deserves. You don't want her to feel as if she's alone in this marriage. You don't want her to feel that she needs adult time, but she can't get it. Right? No, you want your wife to feel love. You want her to feel appreciated. You want her to feel cherished like the queen that she is. Now, right now, if things are rocky, you might have some resentment against her. Totally get it, right? It's natural. That can change, but you need to use these techniques to change it. Otherwise, you're going to continue the cycle of arguments. And what most men do is they sweep the argument under the rug, hoping that it just gets better. She's mad, you let her go, she goes out with her girlfriends, you don't say anything about it, you hold resentment, things get better a week or so from then, everything's fine, something else bubbles up to the surface, right? You guys know this pattern. You have another argument, you bring up the old stuff, she brings up old stuff, the argument's bigger, you have no sex again, you go through this whole cycle over and over and over again like it's Groundhog's Day. But eventually you get further and further and further apart. We want to nip that in the bud right away. We use a tactic called the clean slate method to wipe the slate clean, but then we use what I'm teaching you now is a version of the hidden motives technique, which is like kung fu for arguments, right? It's like a keto for shit tests. So your wife really is saying, I need help. But instead of saying that, because she doesn't have the resources to do that emotionally, she's doing it through complaining. I'm going to go out with the girls. Then I'm going skiing tomorrow. Because I don't want, and really what she's saying is, I don't want to be in this situation tomorrow, so I'm planning ahead without you, and I'm going skiing. And then the next day I'm going out with the girls again, or whatever it may be. You get the idea. Because in that moment, her nervous system is so stressed that she does not want to go here again. She does not want to go back to this place. So again, I'll just repeat what I was saying. Your wife says, the kids are just been crazy. It's been I'm going out with the girls tonight. Tomorrow I'm going skiing, and the next night I'm going out with the girls again. I'm out of here. You might say, whoa, babe. Man, I know what those days are like. When the kids are going crazy and I haven't had an adult to talk with, I go flipping insane. And so now I'm validating with her. She's either gonna say, no, that's not it at all, or she's gonna say, yeah, I hate that. And go, yeah, whew. I never want you to feel that way where you're not having adult time or you're not getting a chance to actually connect with adults to do that. I've had a crazy week too. I need some adult time. How can we do this together so both of us get what we need? Now we're in collaboration mode, right? And I'm leading her down this path. You also might want to throw out there like, hey, why don't we do this? Why don't we call the babysitter tomorrow and you and I will go skiing? You and I both need some adult time. And you know what? We need some together time like when we first were dating. Right now I'm bringing her into the dream. I'm leading her down the path that I want to. And gentlemen, this is how your wife is going to feel safe. If you've ever had your wife tell you that she doesn't feel safe with you, odds are it's not physically safe, it's emotionally safe. It's because you're not leading, you're not activated, right? I wasn't activated. I was running 3 companies, I was playing competitive sports, I was doing all the community things, but at home, I was not activated. I became deactivated. That's why we have the activation method. It's a methodology. You need to become activated to lead her, to make her feel safe. When she feels safe, she can surrender into your masculine energy, into your reassurance. She can surrender into your leadership. And that, my friend, is how you go from war zone arguments to intimacy, love, and respect outside the bedroom and inside the bedroom. You got to remember, for women to have that really wild, passionate sex we all want to have, they need to feel connected and safe first. I'll say that again. If you want your wife to be the freak in the bedroom that she has been, and I can tell you this from a man that ran a gym where I could overhear conversations from women, and my wife's a coach, so I hear from her, your wife is way freakier in bed than you probably have ever experienced, and she's dying for it. But she needs to feel safe with you, and she needs to feel connected to you in order for that side of her to come out with you. She wants it with you. But if she's not going to have it with you, she's going to have it somewhere else, just so you know. And in order for us as men, in my theory, my feelings talking to men and the way I feel, in order for me to be connected to my wife in a deep way, I need to be having great sex. So you see where you have this juxtaposition here. She needs to feel connected to have great sex. I need great sex to feel connected. But hey, am I going to wait for her? No way, man. I'm going to plant the seeds and make sure it happens on my terms. Plus, I don't like the war zone of arguments. Right? It doesn't feel good, doesn't serve me to my highest level. Sometimes I'm argumentative, right? Sometimes I cause the problem, probably more often than not. But I also want to resolve it, right? And there's a teenager inside of me, like there is inside of you, that sometimes I don't want to resolve it right away. But usually, again, this can rise up in my house and I can solve it like that. Again, I walk in the house, my wife goes, "Oh, the kids have been crazy. I just need to get out of here." Hey, babe, I hate it. So I'm going to validate her, right? Go through it. And literally within 20 seconds or so, my wife is in my arms. She's looking at me. She no longer needs to go out with the girls. Everything's resolved. She just needed her nervous system to be calmed down. She needed to be led and very firmly. It felt like she was safe and that she's understood. Then the evening turns out to be fun. We can play with the kids. We can do all things. Maybe she goes out with the girls, maybe not, right? But I've led her down the path. She's definitely not going out 3 nights in a row, leaving me with the kids. That's not happening. Right? That's a boundary that I have because I need to take care of myself too, right? So, but in these arguments, it's all about the validation, right? So the hidden motives technique is way more than just validation, but it's the easiest term to describe when I'm coaching this without actually going through and one-on-one with the situation like you would with your coach in the activation method, is understanding that. And you've got to practice it. You got to get your reps in. The first time you do it, you're going to fumble. You're just going to fumble. Second time, you'll get a little better. Third time, a little better. Fourth, fifth, etc. And you get to this point where you get your reps in and you're like my wife and I, and you literally solve this very quickly, should you choose to. Again, I have a strong teenager. Sometimes I don't choose to. Sometimes I'd rather be right than happy. But we come back to it very quickly. And this is how you can turn intimacy or turn arguments into intimacy in your house. Your wife's going to feel better, right? You're going to have a queen that knows that her man can solve her problems without solving them, right? That's the key. You're not actually going, here's the solution, like most of us guys do, like I used to do. You're solving it from an internal angle, the angle that she really, really needs you to do it from. And she's going to start looking at you and admiring you more because you are now her safe place. She's not going to leave her safe place. She'll definitely leave a place that she doesn't feel safe. So now you become her safe place. You become the man that she loves again, the man that she respects again, and the man that she admires and looks up to. And guess what? She's going to tell all her girlfriends about this. It happens, guys. Like all the girlfriends are going to know that you provide this safe space and this barrier for her, and that arguments in your home happen, but those arguments turn into intimacy, and that's how you do it. So gentlemen, as I always say in the moment of insight, take massive action. Apply these techniques to your life today, right? Practice. You're going to stumble, and that is okay. If you're in the movement, you're in our private community, you've been through the activation method before, comment in the general channel. Let me know how this is working for you, what's working, what's not. You're going to have hundreds, if not thousands of men right there in your corner, just like I am. Remember, gentlemen, I'm in your corner. Take some massive action. We'll see you next time on the TPM show.